Right, hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel. With me, El Young, and we are joined here with the brilliant Dean James. Welcome, Dean.
Thank you.
So, Dean, can you explain to the viewers who you are and what you do?
So my name is Dean James. I have a band called the Black Dogs. Um, I'm a sort of blues rock kind of grungy type of artist. Um, I've been writing songs for maybe 20 years and really pushing the original stuff the past 6 to 8 years, something like that. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so that's what that's kind of stuff I do. And I've got, if you can get my website and stuff, you can have a look, Dean James and the blackdogs.com. Just go on that. There's a lot of links to videos and things, and Facebook pages and Instagram and all that kind of malarkey.
yeah. So, let's dive into some of the stuff, some of the questions I've wanted to ask. So, as a kid, what were you basically listening to as a kid?
I suppose my first memories of music was in childhood house. There was a bunch of 7-inch vinyl and 12 inches. So I distinctly remember a song called Sherry,
Yeah,
which is a real Wall of Sound type of song. I can't remember who it's by.
Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Well, there you go, Elliot. That was a great song, and then there was Bohemian Rhapsody, which I was fascinated by.
Yeah,
Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves by Cher, who was another
yeah,
one, another classic, and had Sex Pistols, Friggin' and the Riggin'.
yeah,
That was a 12-inch one. That was a good one for being 6-year-old to listen to. And probably the best one was Elvis and
yeah,
Return to Sender. Return to
yeah. That's
Sender,
a good track.
because I used to listen to it over and over again. And even though I knew the outcome of the final verse, like, the letter always got sent back. I was thinking, I wonder if she opens it today and like falls in love with him or something. So
Yeah,
I was always fascinated by that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
then as I sort of grew up, Billy Joel was huge for us, and I think that's where I really started to enjoy great singers as
yeah,
well as songwriters. And then I found metal and Guns N' Roses and stuff like that. I found that Iron Maiden was huge in my life for a long
yeah,
time. Uh, Absolutely loved Iron Maiden. So wanted to be Bruce Dickinson. Uh,
yeah,
just thinking every band I was in from like 14 were like trying to do Run to the Hills or Rem the Ancient Mariner, something like that.
yeah,
So yeah, so I really got into metal and stuff, and then Anthrax, Metallica, Slayer, System of a Down, kind of stuff
yeah,
like that. But then I was
yeah,
also into blues music as well. So John Lee Hooker, Muddy Waters. I also loved uh, Bob Marley. So there's a huge diverse range of
yeah,
influences I have. The Eagles, the Police. I loved anything from acoustic guitar to piano ballads to
yeah,
full out smashing your face into somebody else's face kind of music. And
yeah,
probably the biggest influence when I just hit that age of 15, 16, I came in from school and I heard Smells Like Teen Spirit on top of the pops. And it
yeah,
just blew me mind. And that was me in grunge for about 4 or 5 years.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so that was my early kind of stuff. That's always had a massive influence on what I do now, really.
yeah, yeah. So, really, so who really got you into like actually getting into music? Was it your mum or your
Um,
dad or
My dad was always singing in the car. He used to love Billy Ocean,
Yeah,
and then what's the other guy called? Dad was always in the love ballads. Lionel Richie, loved
yeah,
that kind of stuff. Um, so I was always surrounded with that. But my dad really loved rock driving music, so he loved
yeah,
This Is Easy Top and a bit of Doctor, Doctor, give me the news I got. He loved
yeah,
all that kind of stuff, that
yeah,
commercial, like kind of white snake kind of stuff. And I want to know what love is. All that kind of malarkey in the 80s.
yeah, yeah,
My mum got us massively into rock and roll music. And I remember on a Sunday, she'd be cooking the dinner in the kitchen. And I know kind of really say his name now, but like Jimmy Savile was massive back then. And like he ran the charts roads really. I always remember
yeah,
just listening to Jimmy Savile in the chart music around that time. On a
yeah,
Sunday, he used to do all the 60s stuff and everything. So they got us at the music really, but also I was always in choirs when I was a kid as well at school. School I was put in the choir because I could sing.
yeah,
So growing up with religious music and that as well, church music and things, like Church of
yeah,
England kind of stuff, not Catholic stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, so stuff like that, hymns, things like that. So I'm totally immersed in most styles of music really, and that was my foundation. I think it was really important. Um, yeah.
yeah. So, who really inspired you to become a musician?
Um, I grew up I had a couple of groups of friends. I had like the lads I grew up with on the estate where I live. They were all into like indie music in the early 90s.
Yeah,
So like Happy Mondays and Farm and James and all them kind of bands. And I used to, they were alright, but they weren't my cup of tea because I was more into the metal side of things.
yeah,
So I had another group of friends who were a little bit older than me, and that's where the bands come along. And I think they sort of inspired us because I could never play guitar or anything. I was always just a singer really, and I used to sing in all the bands. They used to be drummers, guitarists, and if anyone needed a singer, everyone was like, "Oh, well, ask Steve if he wants to sing in the band for a bit." So they're the ones that sort of pushed us really to do it. And then when I was 17, I was a roadie for a band, and I went all
yeah,
around the northeast of England, playing in the working men's social clubs, which are absolutely awful places. But that was a brilliant couple of years, just carrying speakers on my shoulders, walking up rain sodden bloody fire escapes that were the most dangerous. You might as well have been climbing on roofs in the rain. It was that
yeah,
dangerous, you know. Um,
yeah,
so that then people there's I don't know if he's watching, but there's a guy called Paul Chambers, who
yeah,
was a bass player, who was one of my best mates' cousins at the time, and me and my best mate used to roll for their band, and he used to really enthuse us to play and stuff, you know, and he ended up teaching us at college and stuff when I was in my 20s and stuff, when I went back to
yeah,
college. So they're the big inspirations of the people who are just around you, you know. People who
yeah,
drag you to things, who push you forward. Music teachers at school, you know, they were in the rock band at school. I was a singer in the rock band, and yeah, just like being pushed to doing rehearsals all the time and trying to get. I mean, they cover songs and things, you know what I mean? That's what I wanted to do. So,
yeah,
but yeah, I just loved music and I couldn't do anything else. And I used to think that I had autism or something, or I had dyslexia because I just couldn't concentrate in school. But what all I was doing was just constantly thinking about Megadeth's new album or something, or like I wanted to be like David Mustaine or something, or I wanted to be Anthrax or something, or I wanted
yeah,
to tour the world. And, I don't know if you remember a thing called Raw Power that used to be on a Friday night.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it was a metal program in the UK.
yeah,
We used to videotape them and just watch them over and over and over and over and over again. And
yeah,
Yeah, so like that's the kind of things that fuse to be a musician, really.
Yeah. So, what were you touched briefly on you were in bands before as a younger kid, you in your teens and in your teens. What were they doing? What were the what genre of music were they or stuff like
Well,
that?
in the younger days, it was like sort of like playing in youth clubs,
Yeah,
and we used to do a lot of Guns N' Roses because Guns N' Roses were really big at the time. Then you've got like your Sex Pistols and that in the UK and stuff. And it's Iron Maiden. But then you know, like your standards that you hear everybody band play, like Knocking on Heaven's Door and things like that.
yeah,
Yeah, Three Chord Bashers, great songs. But that's where you learn your trade, really. That's the kind of stuff we're doing. Anything
yeah,
that felt good, I suppose, at the time.
yeah,
Anything that what people were into. And the great thing about bands is like it's 5 or 6 people all into 5 or 6 different types of music. So there's always like loads of different influences from things. So yeah,
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah. So let's get back to some like the present day type of thing. So basically, what you've been up to is last year since like the since COVID happened.
Well, so a little bit of a story. I was in nursing for 16 years, and I was like sort of an amateur kind of musician for about 7 of them years, playing on the local circuit, doing originals when I could get off work really. And then about 2 years ago, I got the opportunity out of the blue to go to college and study a music performance course. And at my age, I mean, I'm 45 now. Um, Seems a bit silly to pack in a full-time job that you've got a pension and a career. But I just wasn't feeling it anymore. And I thought if I don't try this now, I'm never ever going to do it. I'll just regret it. So the past year, I've been doing a music performance course, and at the end of this year, I've started the third year of the degree. Um, and what happened in the first year of the course is I learned how to record from home, how to work home studios, things like that.
Yeah,
So got a really cheap little setup together in the spare room, and started putting some songs down. And I've been working with a label that's based in America called Autumn Records, for a couple of years. Um, and they were at the end of the day, I couldn't play alongside anybody. So I thought, well, why don't I just go back to my roots as an acoustic artist? Because that's when I first started like writing stuff on an acoustic guitar. And I decided to do an unplugged album with the help of Autumn Records. And so I recorded the guitar and vocals in my bedroom, as basic as I could and as clearly as I could, sent them off to America, and then they produced it and mixed it and mastered it and put it out there. And that's on it's on Spotify, it's on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. It's like a 25-minute EP, so it's like a 7-track EP. And it's called, if you just type in Dean James Unplugged or shout at Alexa Dean James Unplugged, and something will come up with that. So that's what I've been doing the past last lockdown. This lockdown, around Christmas time, I had a bit of I don't know, like a weird kind of shift inside of us. I was keep getting these weird dreams, right? Like these really
yeah,
weird dreams. And I was hearing music, and I was waking up, and I still have music in my head. And I'd jump off the end of the bed and grab a guitar and I'd start playing it. And I'd start the melodies in my head for the vocals, and I've got to get this down. So I quickly grab my phone and record just what I've done, what I've just heard in my dream.
yeah, yeah,
And I've now got getting on for maybe a dozen songs, which I'm
Yeah.
going to do as a new album. And the album it's a concept album, so we're in talks with a arranger composer guy in America to see if he wants to jump on board with it. It's going to be quite a big thing. It'll be the biggest thing I've ever done. So the label are really interested in what says to me. I want to do like another EP just for this year, 20 minutes. And the first thing the label manager says that we should do it 40 minutes. Do 40 minutes, then we can get it on vinyl and we'll press it on vinyl. Because CDs, no one really is using CDs anymore. Streaming makes you nothing as a musician.
Yeah.
So the only way, like, everyone's crying out for vinyl, so maybe that's the way to go ahead. So we've got some Nashville session musicians on board as well as a couple of lads who play with me regular. And the idea is to get all the demos done here, which I've got little bones of them anyways, send them off, come up with some arrangements, and then we're going to go up to Nashville as soon as everything comes back up, hopefully at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. And spend a week in Nashville in the studio, sound emporium, and just get it all recorded. And that'll be the biggest step I've ever had in my anything. Going to America where all the roots of my music is, America really.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing for me. So that's what's happening. That's what's going to happen. What's happening now. So that it's just and the concept album is around mental health, but it's also horror based.
Yeah.
You don't quite know if this guy's like having a delusional thought process of what's going on, or if he's actually an absolute maniac. You know what I mean? So he could be really unwell, or he could be an absolute maniac. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing you kind of try to do. It's all very dour and miserable, and there's lots of gypsies in it and the devil's in it and stuff. It's a bloke wrestling with what's going on in his mind. But that's the kind of stuff I like to write. That's the kind of stuff that, unfortunately, it's not pop music, it's not really commercial, but hopefully it might, I know, it might hit like a commercial or something, or get on a TV program or something, like a Netflix program or something.
Yeah.
You just never know. So that's the plan so far. That's all I can really tell you about it.
Yeah. Right. So you got this concept album coming out, hopefully recorded sometime this year or next year.
Mm-hmm.
So in the meantime, are you? What's the plan for the band, or are you planning any gigs or any new, other new material?
We've had I can't really rehearse with the lads at the moment because of all the lockdown measures that we have. It's really difficult. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to hold the band together when you aren't bonding as a band, when you aren't doing what bands do. It's really difficult, and other people sort of get pulled off on other projects and things, and they're doing online things that I really struggle doing online things. I'm more about like just paying live to somebody, like even if I'm sitting in the garden, I'll take the guitar and do that rather than do it over this. So, we're going to play on the main stage of the Great British Rhythm and Blues Festival. It's horrible to see that. Last year we got cancelled, so we got pushed for this year, but I'll cancel again. So that's another massive opportunity. I was asked to play a gig in Portugal as well. It was just in Portugal, and this year was going to be online. But unfortunately, I couldn't get access to the studios and stuff and decent equipment to record it properly. So that didn't happen. So there's been a few missed opportunities, but I don't know. We'll just keep plodding on. As a musician at the moment, it's rubbish for everybody. There is no It doesn't really seem like there's light at the end of the tunnel for anything.
Yeah.
Musician, like, gigs wise, that's why I think it's important that if you're a writer and you're an artist, you need to start really digging deep now. So when things do open up, you've got a lot of fresh material to push out to the audience, something new, something exciting. Yeah.
So, pretty much the last question. Any advice for people who want to become a musician?
Um, get a proper job. Get a real job. Get a
Yeah,
trade. Be a foster or a plumber, or be join the army, or be a policeman, or be a doctor or something. Um, Literally because it will give you a wage, give you a long career until you retire. I really wish I could have done that, but unfortunately, I'm a musician, and I can't do them kind of jobs. I know I can't do them kind of jobs. So my advice would be, I don't know, maybe it's to do what I'm doing now. I'm middle aged now, later in life as an artist. So I've gone back to school and I'm trying to get a degree. So hopefully, once I get a degree, I'll start teaching and make a living from music that way, as well as doing the songwriting and the um, bits of like studio work that you can possibly do because you do learn a lot of new skills. I'm going to be on the new course. I'm going to be starting. I'm going to be like learning about how to put music, film, and TV and stuff. So
yeah,
as well as live performances and exhibitions, stuff like that. And I think if people are totally lost at the moment, you just have to keep pushing forward and think in the future because all this stuff now it's happening now and it's going to be the past. Tomorrow it will be the past. So keep making plans for the future and it'll happen. Things will work for you. Like I never ever believed that I would end up in Hollywood on a red carpet event for one of my songs. And the last 3 years, I've been nominated 3 times for Hollywood Music Awards. And I actually went out there the first year to LA. So like these are like dreams of a 5-year-old has these dreams. And
yeah,
it took me 40 years to get there, but it happened. But all I can say is if music's inside of you, you just gotta like, go with it. You have to go with it. But if you can't, have another skill, like a bricklayer or something like that as well. Have 2 skills. Don't just rely on music because music will pay the bills, but it won't get you to Mauritius 3 times a year on holiday. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And being a musician costs a lot of money on instruments. You continually upgrading your stuff all the time, buying new shiny musical things. So yeah, that's the advice. Just
yeah,
keep going until you die, and then when you die, I don't know. Maybe you can join, the band upstairs. Maybe there's a big band there that you can be a part of. I couldn't tell you. Just keep going. Music's inside you. It's a feeling. It's an emotion. It's part of you. It's not something. It's not something that you cast aside. I suppose it's like if you. I don't know. I've heard stories from people who are like, if I'm compared to this, for an example, people who always knew they were gay when they were little and always hid it because they felt as though they couldn't like, come out kind of thing. And then once they did, life was great because they could just be themselves. And I sort of like, as a musician, I felt like that again. I'm now coming out as a musician and doing something actively to be a professional musician. And honestly, the past 2 years have just been transformative for me, really. Just a new mindset. So just let it come out and just work with it, I suppose.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Write songs. Write songs. Never stop writing songs. Even if you think they're rubbish, just keep writing them all the time. because you might write 10 songs and one of them might be alright. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still look back on stuff. I brought a song out. I was on the last EP that I wrote 20 years ago that never got recorded. I reworked it, and it came out great. You know what I mean? So just keep plugging away.
Yeah.
And if you can, if it's financially viable, try and be in the originals band as well, alongside the covers bands and the day job and all that kind of stuff. Keep being creative, because if you don't, you'll just end up on the X Factor or something. So just not worth it.
Yeah.
And that's it, right?
Yeah. Right. Just before we go, where can people find your music? Have you got a website or
I have a website called www.deanjamesandtheblackdogs.com. So stick Dean James and the Black Dogs. If you type that in, it should come up. All the links to all the stuff on there, reviews of the albums and things, past albums. There's a load of links to videos. I have my own YouTube channel as well, which has probably about a dozen videos on there. Over time, you'll see us from being like 35, where I was like probably 3 stone later, and then you'll see us now. You know what I mean? You'll see the transformation in 10 years, with that kind of stuff. So, and it's Instagram, Twitter. I'm not really on Twitter and Instagram a lot, but Facebook, using Black Dogs page on Facebook. Cover most of the social media as well. But like I say, if you've got Alexa or something or whatever you've got, wherever you are, just shout in Dean James and the Black Dogs or Dean James Unplugged, and the latest stuff should come up on Unplugged album. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much, Dean.
It's been a real pleasure, man. You've been a big part of the Dean James journey, really, because I met you a long time ago. What a gig on the album launch 5 years ago, actually.
Yeah, it was the Pure album.
The
It was
album, Independent in Sunderland.
Yeah.
That was I launched the debut album on the 40th birthday. So I remember that one. That's where I first met you, and we've been loads of gigs since over the Northeast. And, we've done radio interviews and stuff before, and I remember talking to you about doing this exact thing because you were interested in having your own little show and you got offered something. I remember you being really shy at the start.
Yeah.
You didn't have a lot of confidence and stuff. And 5 years later,
yeah,
YouTube channel.
YouTube channel, 6 hour radio show. And I've come a long way in these last 5 years. I've come a long way.
Yeah, and that's only because you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
You thought about it so much, and it just became a reality for you. And that's what anything. You want to get to Hollywood, just do exactly the same. Enter a good song or an awards thing online, and then somehow meet you with LA.
Yeah.
It happens. Not that you really want to go to LA, but that's impossible. Well, thanks anyways, mate. It's been a real pleasure talking. It's been a while since I've seen you. Over a year.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for coming on again. Thank you so much.
No problem. Play all the records right now, all of them, every single one.
Thank you, James. Dean. Thank you, Dean.